Guys, show you what's going on this morning. So we're good on this guy. We took that off. So this is what I'm dealing with right now, but I'm gonna probably lower this down today, get that thing restraightened. I'll show you in a second. I'll show you in a minute what I'm dealing with. So we got that going. So I'll show you guys in a second what I'm dealing with right now. So I took that off there yesterday. So you guys see what I'm dealing with right now. See how the top is? But I can tell you, the mast is not bent, so that's the good news about it. We'll probably reload this back down today and take that rotor off and look at the pole. But you guys know, my mom thinks the antenna's too dang heavy. It's 13 pounds. That's the same. That's the pole when I put it on there the first time. These poles did not came from Lowe's. These are the ones I had back in Utah. One was for my ham antenna with that thing connected on the top. That's where that pole came from. And the same thing is that one too on the top. You guys can see that. Let me widen that out. That's 33 feet on the tops. If I cut it 2 foot, it'd be okay. So you guys can see it's not bent on the top either way. It's looking good. I'll show you in a second what happened. And that happened back in October when it was bent. Not this pipe, but this pipe looks pretty good. If you guys want to offer some help, let me know. I know Dallas would be the best thing right now, because he probably got some stuff. All these pipes came from Lowe's, except the one on the top is not. And what I had to do with the rotor back in October, I had to cut off some bolts here to fit this mast here, to get it tightened on that part. And this one I didn't cut anything. I put something in there. What I did, I put 2 pieces of mule tape in there because this pipe would not fit inside the bracket on the top. That's the problem I have. And then I put some aluminum tape in there and duct tape the wrap inside of it and outside of it. That's what you've seen. And I'll show you in a second what I'm dealing with right now. And I looked at it yesterday. Right now, today's the last day of cold weather. It'll be like 70 degrees today. But I don't mind the cold weather. It won't bother me. Because in Utah, we're used to a lot colder. You just have to dress up layers. You guys see how it looks like it's bent? Let me try to brighten this up so you guys can see it better. There it goes. You guys can see what I'm doing with. Now you can tell what I'm looking at. Get it straight. See? That's what it did. So that's what I'm talking about, why it's bent that way. Not the pole. This thing is doing great. There's nothing bent about this guy. Let me show you in a second. See, the mast is not bent at all. You can tell it did not bend this mast at all, because I didn't over push it like I did. And you guys see what the problem I'm dealing with on the top. That's probably why I have to cut this off 2 foot, but I'm gonna need to look inside the whole thing. Maybe we gotta rebend this mast or go inside that thing and reattach the rotor inside. I have to take the rotor off and look at the pole inside of it and take all that duct tape off. That's probably what I have to do. I have a backup plan because I was thinking about doing this, but I don't want to do that yet. I was thinking about taking the rotor down to here 2 feet and take one of these 2 foot pole out of this and put it on top of this with the beam antenna. That's the only thing. You understand, I bought all this Lowe's because this is the cheapest way to do it, because there's nothing cheaper the way you can get anything poles like this, because I don't have anything that will transport a tower or anything like that, because mostly I got this done by minivan, because it's a Ford Transit type van is what my mom has, and my mom and my sister uses a Mitsubishi type car. And that's how I got all these pipes in here with 10 footers. Each of you only get 10 footers at Lowe's in that part where you go get it at. These are not fence pipes. The one on the top is actually a pipe from Utah that came with our house. That's the problem with that is. That's the one I made that contact to 2112 with that thing on the top. And I took those brackets off today, and I'll show you. Those cool brackets I have. So I got them off last night. So And yesterday I had to do some gardening stuff because that's what I'm doing. So the good news, my Wi-Fi cards are coming today. So I might be able to be on there with the thing I was telling you. It should be okay. Hope it works good. Hope it turns out okay. So these are the ones that went on that pole. And I got those for the things like that. Asia does that a lot. So we're looking at right here. So, because it took me a month to get that mastery fixed. You guys know that. See, that's why I have this hole here. You guys can see this guy. If you want to help me out, let me know, Dallas, if you hear me out there. If you want to come all the way out here and try to do something right, but I don't know. If you can get a better pipe, that's what we can do. But I hadn't made this because it took a lot of months to get these guys going. But I think I need to try to get this down today and take the rotor off and look at that pipe. This is good because I did a good job on the part where because it's 5 foot inside where that thing is at. This is the mass design I made for months. It's all those pipes and it's 2 foot concrete in the ground. The other one's 3 foot in the concrete in the ground with the wood 4x4, 6x6, because that's the chain hoist boat winch. So she's looking okay. I put it back on the same position before, because when I put that thing on the top, it will start to bend. So the pipe doesn't look like it's bent to you. You can tell it when it looks like it's bending from the top. That's where the weight of the antenna is. We might have to do like the backup plan I told you about. But that's where I have that hook on that thing, because that's where it's right there. See, that's where I put it at, where that chain hoist there, right between where the 3 things are at, right there above. Let me see. And right there, you can see it right there. So that actually raises us up. This is my heavy duty pipe right here that starts at the 10 foot right here. And that rod is about 10 foot inside this pole here, so in case that keeps the weight from bending the thing like the last time. So that's why I did a good job when I did that. It took me a month to get this going, these three holes, and these down here. This took a lot of time to redo all that instead of that pipe right there I had for the backup what I did. You guys know that. There we go. You guys can see it a little better. Because I just got done those last week when I drilled them. I had to do them at night and during when sunset, because it's getting darker now to like 5:30 now. And it's getting like 5:29, but there's my problem right there. And let's hope we can do something right about this. And it's very thin on the top. That's the only thing. I hope we don't get that thing on the bend on the top, because backup plan, we could actually we could cut 2 foot right here or 3 foot and put it on top of this rotor, put the rotor down here. That's the only thing we have a backup plan in case that happens. But I'm going to try this technique to get this pipe on bend, look at it and cut it to 3 feet and see if we could try to do that and look inside the bracket. Maybe we could try to do that during the week we do, but I got to see what we have to do on that one. But at least the mast is not bent. At least this whole thing is not bent. I'm glad it did not, because I didn't push it that hard. If the antenna does not lift off the ground, usually there's something wrong. Because believe me, I don't have a tower system, but there's actually one on Facebook Marketplace I saw. For $250, the guy's selling a tower for, it's already put on the ground and everything. And it's out of Sweetwater, Tennessee. Man, I would have loved to have one of those towers. It would have been a lot easier. Because most of the towers are hard to get these days, but mostly you don't have a truck to haul it and all that stuff, because sometimes you have to do all that kind of stuff. But this is the only way as closest to a tower I made it. That's why I made this mast. It's all concrete in the ground, so these are great. This is 3 foot, this is 2 foot. That's why I made these designs. We can put any kind of pole in the system, be okay, as long as we don't break off the bolts or the weight. That's why I made this a while back. It's one of my dad's designs when he did when he actually had a different kind of pipe, not like this one. He had one of these pipes that actually had those little rings in it, and it came from an RV trail park in in Hollywood, Florida, when he found it, when he actually did telephone lines. And you guys seen the photo of it. I showed it the dirty diaper a while back, a couple weeks ago. The one had on my mobile home back in Florida. The one that looks like the TV antenna. And because the black pole was actually the one I used on my first base station, it was like a Super Lance antenna. One of the worst antennas you will not buy. Like the little black rubber ducky type antenna, like a 4-footer, like a 2-footer. Anybody who buy those antennas, I know it's cool to have them, but my worst mistake I learned, I did not know this. It took many years to figure it out because when I had my Navajo base station, you know what it was. It's like the ones in the 90s. And what happened a year later, my one of my circuit capacitors got smoked up. It was like something that I did not know. It was on the left side of the vent where smoke came out, and it did work, but I had that microphone with the little single 9-volt battery, or what it was, like 7-volt battery, like the one Wagon Master had, the one with the Radio Shack type microphone, which had like the little red light when you squeeze, because it gives you like noise cancellation increase. That's what Radio Shack sell during the time. And I did not know this until I had to figure this out one day about it when I lived in Utah. And Utah was a lot of my thinking grounds. If it wasn't all Utah, this would never happen. But yeah, the CB stuff would not happen because of Utah. Yes, it's true. That's how I got into it when got me back to the radio. Because if it wasn't in Utah, that would have never happened because of this. It's true. And when I got that ham radio system, like the TRC 490, the 420, the 520 SE, and then I got my Bullfang radio that year, that's what got me back into CB because of this. So yeah, the Mako's gonna be okay. The Mako's fine. So the good thing I'm gonna tell you about, that's when we need to do something about this. I know Dallas would love to help people like this, but the Smoky Mouse Skip Chasers are kind of a different group. They're busy in their own world. They don't understand my situation is. You guys know all about that, about my dad and stuff. Believe me, I learned this all from my dad, from this kind of pole. This is where it comes from. I didn't learn from you guys, but I learned from different videos from on YouTube. But this was one design my dad had, something very similar in 1995. Instead, it had rings on this pole, like in sections with rings and rings. That's what he had. It was one of these things for CB poles. It was made something from, like, he found it at an RV park. He painted it up. He did some drilling to it. Back then we didn't use battery drills back in the 90s. Yeah, we did have battery drills. We used just like those drills that like the black and silver type drill. That's what he used to do when he did all this stuff. And he took a lot of work. But his poles, these kind of poles were like way up that high, about 6 foot high. That's what he did. And imagine digging coral rock back then in Hollywood, Florida. Under the ground in South Florida, it's all coral rock and dirt on the top. Most of the coral goes at least 6 feet down. And you had it with a crowbar, which I have one of these crowbars too. My dad actually had it a while back since North Florida. I have a small crowbar. He had 2 different kinds. This one, you could break rocks with it. I had broke rocks with it in here when I put the concrete in this ground. A few rocks like these. That's the concrete block. But rocks like that, we dig out of the ground. But my garden's doing good. We're going to have a big garden next year, but I've been working on that for a while. I'll show you guys in a second. And I'm saying, yeah, I'll talk about that. So when I learned about the antenna system back in Hollywood, Florida, that was like the Super Lance. It's the one 2112 has. He showed on his video a while back. And I will never buy one of these antennas. They're good to have, but you don't want to have one of those because you'll fry your SWR. They tell you don't need no ground plane, all that crap, blah, blah, blah. But don't believe the specs of that because your radio will get fried if it doesn't have SWR protection. The new ones have SDR protections. So this is the guard I did yesterday. And we're going to be putting some more beds soon. And we have to do it when it's not hot. So if you get a lot of good, if you wear your right gear and stuff, this will actually turn to dirt. Very quite good. I like when it's cold, but at least here we're not going to deal a lot of snow. It doesn't snow that much in this area. Last year we had that snowstorm. They only happen every 30 years, I found out from people. And they get them every few years, but the worst was like 8 inches of snow. We had at least 6, and they filled up all these beds here. My Mako E5000 did awesome in the snow. It had a little bit on the ring, that was it. That was the only thing it had. You guys seen it. So I hope we can get this down today and take a look inside. But I would love to find another one of these pipes. Something a little bit better. I hope we don't bend anything on the top. I don't want to break anything on this thing right now because I took a lot of work to do this. These are still, I got 1 foot inside. There's 1 foot inside of that one I did. The other ones, when I took this down here, it's 5 foot inside of this thing, okay? So it's doing good. There's nothing bent down here. So I did right on the weight factor. Because you know where I took that pipe in here and put it down to 5 foot here. And I drilled these holes here. I had to re-drill them in the same, it was in the same holes, but it was in a different part of the hole. That took a few days to do that. This took a lot of time to get that refixed. So this pole is good right here. This is great. The one I'm worried about is where that chain hoist here is going to bend this part right here. That's only like, that's about 10 feet right there on the top. That's a 10-foot pole right there. You're looking on the top right here. The easy part, you could drill a hole anytime long. These holes are the same size and everything. But it's 10 foot right on this, right here between the 3 holes. That goes all the way up that way. The one, yeah, this pipe is about 10 foot long, but that one slides 5 foot inside. And yeah, that one, that's the one slides 5 foot inside here. The one at the top here goes from this stretch is about 10 foot long right here. So this is like 1 foot inside of this already, like I did the last one last time. I didn't change anything to this because this one's been the same since back in July. So you guys seen the video a while back. And there's the chain hoist shredder. That's the only thing I'm more worried about, bending this. The worst thing can go like that and pull it back up. But we have to check the rotor. And mostly, worst case scenario, we could probably cut this down to 2 foot and put this on top of it. That's the only thing, that's a backup plan. Or we could just try to take this rotor down, look at this pole, and get this on bent and see what happens. And cut it to 2 foot, see what we do. We don't have to jack it up that much. We could do a little teeny bit and look, see what it does. If it lifts off the ground, that's the only way. Well, right now I had to take the rotor off and then I had to unduct tape all that crap and all that stuff in there and check the pipe inside of it, see if it's and re-straighten that out, because that's probably the worst thing that happened, because it did not fit this pipe, except I had to put 2 pieces of mule tape to hold it, and that's what I did, and that's what happened. I would love to find another one of these pipes, because I got that at Lowe's. I just need like 4 foot, and I can cut it down to 2 feet, 3 feet. That's the only thing it needs. But my mother doesn't want to buy me any more pipes because she's getting kind of, but mostly that's the only thing you can get one of these pipes. So let's hope these don't bend, because they don't bend. They only bend if you had weight on factor, but that's the only thing we have to do. This thing right there, you see the top, that's about 33 feet on the tops. And where the rotor is, between halfway between 3 feet, I would be about 26 feet. So we'll let you know. And I need to make sure it's above the roof of the house, because I need, if it's above the roof of the house, then my antenna will get out, so nothing won't block it. So I'll catch you guys later. This is UDX 362, East Tennessee. '79 smokescreen Shockwave. You guys can see it there today. We're cool, and I'll catch you guys later. UDX 362, East Tennessee.